Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works, episode 26. And for this episode, I have a very, very special guest on with me, Miss Dennifer Reliford. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you this morning?
Doing great, doing great. We're going to get into your story and why everyone should know you and all the great, wonderful things that you're doing. We're going to get into that just a little bit later. But of course, with every episode that I do, I started off with the Black Girl Magic moment, whether it's a moment, whether it's a person recognizing a person. And in this episode, it's kind of a moment and a person or two people. That would be the WNBA Finals, Game 5, New York Liberty versus the, now I'm forgetting another team, Minnesota Lynx. Now, it was the last game. Now, for those that aren't aware, WNBA Finals, it was a 5-game series. Next year it'll be a 7-game series. They're expanding it, but this game was pretty much everything that you wanted. Of course, everyone's talking about the call and was the foul, wasn't not a foul. I get that. The Liberty won the game 67-62 in overtime to bring New York City their first championship in roughly about 50 years. So long time. And people, of course, are going to talk about the bad calls and going to talk about the performance of Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart, who are, two of the stars of the Liberty. They combined 5 of 34 shooting, including 1 of 14 from the three-point line, which not very good. But there were 2 unsung heroes to me. Well, one unsung hero and one hero. And that's Jonquel Jones and Nyara Sabally. Now, Jonquel Jones played with Connecticut Sun, came over to the New York Liberty a couple years ago. She, of course, trying to fit in with all this star power that this team had. It seemed to be more comfortable this year. And when it got to the finals and, your 2 stars are struggling, or your 2 other stars, I should say, she's a star in her own right. She stepped up and she kept them in the game. She basically was, finishing inside, getting rebounds. Just making her presence known. She had 17 points and 6 rebounds in the Game 5 finale. Averaged 17.8 points and 7.6 rebounds for the entire series, and was the force, like I said, the force that kept the Liberty in the game while everything else was trying to figure itself out. Everyone else was trying to figure themselves out or figure what else was going to happen on the court or figure out the game in general and how they were going to impact it. For that, she also was named the WNBA Finals MVP because she was the most consistent player for the Liberty throughout the entire WNBA Finals, in my opinion. But she's not the only hero. Like I mentioned, Nyara Sabally. She had been a consistent contributor for the New York Liberty the entire season and in the playoffs. She played, a few minutes here or there, things like that. But she wasn't one that, you'd be like, okay, cool. Like, we got to worry about her coming in off the bench. She never really averaged over 5 points a game at any point during any series. But in this game, Game 5, the last game of the season, either way, she came in and she showed up. She had 13 points and 7 rebounds on 5 of 7 shooting and played great defense, had a great steal and a layup late in the game as well. That was huge. And in the biggest game, she showed up. She was ready. She wasn't one that had to sit on the bench and, kind of get herself prepared. She was already ready once she got in the game for that moment. And she did her thing. And I had to show props to those 2 Black women for doing that thing on the biggest of stages in the WNBA finals. When everyone was looking towards whether Breonna Stewart and whether Sabrina Ionescu was going to do, Jonquel Jones and Nyara Sabally stepped up, showed out, and helped them get it done to bring home the WNBA title. And I had to give them props in the Black Girl Magic moment for this episode. Dennifer, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that one or anything, but I just was very proud of these two young women.
It's always a good thing when you're often overlooked and you're able to shine when other people don't expect you to. Mike, I think sometimes people choose their favorites, and that's okay. But just always remember that your favorite doesn't have to be everybody else's favorite. There's still other lights that can shine in the box of light bulbs, so to speak, right? So I often see that happen, especially in our adult life. You may not be the most popular person in the room, you may not be the most outspoken, but you can still shine. So good thing. And I'm sorry I didn't get to keep up with it. I was very busy at that time. But I can remember, being so active on social media, those names trending. And like I told you previously, I do have a really good friend whose sister plays for Indiana. So I do dabble when I can, but I've just never been a huge sports person. But I know enough to keep up conversation. And again, you can't expect one person to lead a team and not exhaust out. I grew up being a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and he would have his times when people would talk down about him in the media because they thought he was a ball hog and wanted to outshine everybody else on the team. But he was also well known for being quoted as saying, I see these guys pull up to practice 5 minutes before practice starts, and they're the first ones in the locker room to change 5 minutes after practice ends. So what's that showing me that they're committed to? And it's not the game, it's not the sport, and it's not the team. So again, why would I pass them the ball? So it's all about the way that you think about things in context. And yeah, he was talked down, for being the star, but he put in the work. But then again, when it came finals time, he could pass the ball to people that he respected enough to know that they could assist him in getting the work done, and that allowed them to shine their light. So that story doesn't shock me at all. And even in my profession, there are people that are looked at a certain way because people think they can get things done. But when you do business with them, their light doesn't always shine that bright. Does that make sense when I say it that way?
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
So
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no. I mean, that was just a point I wanted to make. Like I said, you could be in a room full of people, and one person put another person in the spotlight, but it doesn't mean that everybody else's light is dim. You can rely on
Mhm.
other people to get stuff done. It doesn't have to be one shining star, and that's just it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That was the Black Girl Magic moment for this episode. But let's move on to more important things. That's talking about you. Okay. We're going to allow everyone to kind of get to know you a little bit more. And, we're going to start with young Dennifer.
Young
Now, where
Jennifer.
did you grow up?
So young Dennifer had the moniker of Dee Dee. I'm named after my mother. We have the exact same first, middle, last name. It was always good until it got to be about teenage years, and then that's when it got a little taxing. Everybody says we walk, talk, act, sound just alike. So young Dennifer was Dee Dee, and I grew up in Terre Haute, Indiana. It's an hour west of Indianapolis. And for most
Mhm.
people that follow sports, especially basketball, you'll know that that's the college town of Larry Bird. He attended Indiana State University, which is located in my hometown. So when I got to be of college age, I had already partied up there, done everything I could do but study up there. So I decided to move down south and attend Tennessee State University because it was Oprah Winfrey's alma mater, and my mother wanted me to go to Oprah Winfrey's alma mater. But in between then, never really changed schools. Always kind of went to school out of district. My mother was really strict when it came to academia, so she would always research, what was the best elementary, of course, and then what was, the best academically in our area, middle school, and there were only two high schools, so you picked your poison with that one. But yeah, I mean, just hardworking girl. Like as soon as I could, I started working. In Indiana, you could have a work permit at the age of 15. And to get it, you had to go through the school office and go through the secretary and apply or whatever, fill out the paperwork. So nice little charming little, cute white lady, older. Whenever we would bake stuff in home ec, I would bring it to her. And so of course I warmed her heart. She knew me by not just face, but she also knew me by name. So me being me, I had more than one work permit. You were only supposed to have one, but I get away with everything because I'm Dennifer. And so I would bring her cookies and stuff, and she would let me work, however many jobs. I can remember being in English class, probably junior year, and I was sitting behind a girl, and she was talking to another set of girls, and not excluding me. I just wasn't really initially in the conversation, but she was like, I made $80 last night at work, which think about this is like 97, 98. This is a long time ago. That was a lot of money back then. So I listened, that made my ears open up. And then she was like, "Yeah, I worked, 5 to 9:30. I made $80. I'm so tired. I got off at 9:30, got home at like 10:30, and here we are back at school at 7, 8 in the morning." So I finally tapped her on the shoulder. Her name was Sarah. I was like, "Sarah, where do you work?" And she said, "Steak and Shake." And so I knew that if I completed that semester that we were in of school, I could go to school half a day and go to work. So I immediately, after class, called Steak and Shake. I was like, $80 a day times 3 days a week. That's a bunch of money in the late 90s, right? Called Steak and
Hmm.
Shake. They were more than happy to have me. And I literally worked at Steak and Shake from junior year of high school up until I got ready to graduate from undergrad at TSU and come back to TSU for graduate school. So
Hmm.
yeah, I got all my little friends on, and we were all making 80 or $100 a shift. And there's still friends that like message me and say, "Thank you. If you hadn't, got me that job and taught me how to wait tables, and that, it makes more money than like an hourly job. I don't know what I would have did in college." You get stuck
Hmm.
in a bind sometimes, especially if you're like me and you move out of state. You might getting a little wreck or
Hmm.
whatever, or need a tire changed or whatever. And they were like, "Our parents would have never sent us all this money. So thanks, D, for putting that into my life." I don't know. I've always been a connector. I always want to see people live their best life and do the best that they can with what they have. I'm also a firm believer that good things happen to bad people. So if I can never bridge the gap for someone and help them out, and it doesn't have to even be monetarily, it could just be like putting them in the hands of somebody, that could get them a better job, or, get them into grad school, or do something that's going to help improve their life. I'm always that person. I've never been a gatekeeper. Didn't even really know of the term until a couple years ago when I created my own business, you know, and things like that. But yeah, young Dennifer was always curious to learn, always happy to make a new friend. And I consider my friends family. If I
Hmm.
let you into my life, then I want you there. Um, yeah, young Dennifer loved money, cars, the fast life. It's amazing that I wanted to go to school down south because personality
Hmm.
wise, if I was really able back then to tap into who I know I am now, at 18, you kind of don't know. But you don't know, right? But
Hmm.
if I knew then what I know now, I'd be in Vegas or somewhere. I just like the fast life. Sometimes I feel like a bull in a china shop in Nashville. I'm
Hmm.
all girl, but I'm not like traditional Southern belle. You know what I mean? I love my ball caps. I
Hmm.
love my sports cars. I love huge Rolex watches. Like I'm just always like kind of out of my element sometimes. All my friends love me for me, but yeah, I'm definitely kind of, I shake the pavement when I walk sometimes. But that's
Hmm.
just it, Mike. That's just it.
Got you. Got you. Got you. So, I got to ask you, Terre Haute, Indiana. How was it? How was it growing up there in Terre Haute, Indiana? What was kind of the demographic there as well?
I was Lisa Turtle, which is probably another
Ah.
reason I spoke of why my mother was so adamant that I was going to not just an HBCU, but Tennessee State. My grandmother has roots in Springfield as well, so I think that played a large part as far as, where I landed geographically. But yeah, my mother was like, "No, no IU for you. No, definitely no ISU for you." I could have taken college courses in high school if that's the plan of action that I really wanted. Wasn't ever into Ball State. Purdue and all that stuff is so far away. If you're going to do that, you could go out of state. Terre Haute was very, I don't know. I want to say sheltered, but not because
Mhm.
I'm in the Midwest, right? So people talk a little faster, move a little faster. You got to keep your head on the swivel a little bit more. I feel like the new Nashville has created those kind of scenarios more than maybe it did in the past. It was a really easy transition when I initially came, but I'm not going to lie and say that I hadn't been sheltered. Terre Haute and Indianapolis were even completely different demographics. So
Mhm.
now when I hear that Indianapolis is worse, I can't even imagine what it could be because I was so sheltered from Terre Haute. But I think like the influx of drugs and bad things, and just a horrible economy. President after president, the economy doesn't really improve, and it hasn't for decades. You know what I'm saying? I think that small towns such as the one where I'm from have definitely taken a loss and taken a beating. I'm
Mhm.
proud of my Midwestern roots. Lots and lots of family that work for General Motors. I don't like foreign cars because that's just ingrained in me. Watching my grandfather and uncles work for GM and getting that discount. So
Mhm.
it's hard working, very blue collar. You could be upper blue collar, but I mean, I say it all the time. I didn't really see Lexuses and Mercedes and stuff like that on a daily until I came down here to go to school. Those kind of cars were like church cars, funeral cars. Like my aunt had a Mercedes and her husband owned a car lot, so she would trade it as often as she wanted to. But I mean, we all knew that she was fancy because he owned the
Mhm.
car lot, so he could get her what she wanted. But people didn't drive those kind of cars every day. My mom drove a Cadillac, and it was just like a big deal, because very blue collar.
Mhm.
Worked
Got
hard,
you.
and they got what they got from their hard work. Whether you spent your time and your money wisely or not or whatever, but it was just very blue collar and very
Mhm.
fast, much faster. So I didn't understand the difference in culture. Like even in my real estate, some of my clients are like, "Wow, you get stuff done fast." It's just how I'm used to working.
Mhm. Got you. Got you. Now, um, as a kid, I know everyone has their dream of things they want to do or want to be. I didn't quite reach all of those dreams I wanted to have as a kid and wanted to be as a kid. But what was one thing that you wanted to be as a kid that you thought about? I was like, okay, I want to be that when I grow up.
I just don't, always wanted to be like carefree. I never really envisioned myself like married with a lot of children. I just always it's coined like rich auntie vibes. I just wanted to be
Mhm.
laissez faire. Never
Mhm.
really have a chronological age attached to me. I just move around, and I guess that's who I am. Now that I'm a little older, I wish that I had done some things differently, but what can you do when life falls in your lap? You just got to kind of live through it or whatever. I can't be married if I wanted to be in graduate school all of my 20s and try to get into Meharry and do all the things that I did. It just doesn't, there's not enough time in the day, and it just doesn't make sense for you to be able to accomplish it all. So I think you can accomplish it all, but you have to be very strategic about it. And sometimes when life is life and you get off course and you just lose something that you maybe wanted. I also wanted to be a practitioner, and I mean, it just got to be not an unrealistic goal, but I would have been even older trying to chase that graduate school mentality. And I mean, even now, my calendar year is based off of my collegiate experience, right? Like when it's March, I'm ready for spring break. When it's May, you know what I'm saying, anticipating graduation. Like I just it's so ingrained in me from living that lifestyle for so many years. It takes a lot for me to step back and realize you're not in school anymore. You don't have to not do this during Christmas break. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be
Mhm.
planning all this stuff in December because you think you're going to have 3 weeks off or whatever. It's just ingrained in me. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. All right. Well, we're going to find out more about your current career. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break
Okay.
on This Woman Works.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off on these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get these the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works with Dennifer Reliford. And before we went to commercial break, I mentioned about your current career. And for those that didn't catch it in the beginning segment, you are definitely you're in real estate. So
Yeah.
how did you and you also do a podcast as well. Of course, if you can, just tell everyone all the things that you do. I know it's a list of many, so go right ahead.
I'm Dennifer, and I'm a realtor. I'm a longtime Keller Williams agent. Started with Keller Williams in Green Hills in 2018. That's when I was licensed. They taught me everything: how to fill out all the contracts, how to run comps, and all the things that we do as realtors. I also am the CEO and mastermind of Unlock Nashville. That's my real estate company where we work really, really hard to bring buyers and sellers with lenders and vendors that can help them achieve their real estate goals. That's why I said earlier in the segment, I'm a connector. I like to bring people together that can get not just business done, but help each other, better their lives and fulfill whatever desires that they have, goals, achievements. I'm also the host of my own personal podcast, which is called the Unlock Nashville Podcast. You can find us everywhere: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Buzzsprout, YouTube. I help my own clients, and I'm actually kind of behind the scenes putting together a team that can help me since I'm getting a little bit busier, but I'm still the forefront of my business. If you call me and ask me to assist you with your real estate services, then I will be the face who will be assisting you with your services. Just have some background people, that can help with paperwork and things like that so that I'm able to do what I need to do and maneuver around. Just I'm really, really diligent and dedicated to helping the Nashville community and all the great people within the community buy homes, purchase homes, own homes, build equity, and get out of the rent trap. I'm well known for using that term, which is what I call the rent trap, when people just keep continuously renting and don't realize that they may be fit within the parameters to purchase real estate. Always looking for people with a 580 or above credit score. And my company also does offer complimentary credit repair. So that's for people that are maybe working and have made mistakes in the past that they're ready to correct, to be able to get that pre-approval from the bank. And I'm an advocate for the bank. It's a business. If you ask me to borrow $50, Mike, and you're not working, you're maybe unhomed, unhoused, and I
Mhm.
give you that money, I'm kind of giving it to you as a gift, right? Because with all those parameters that I just said, I kind of don't expect for you to maybe give me the funds back. And you may, who's to say, right? But
Mhm.
that's a 50-50 chance. So if you ask me for $50 and you're in between pay periods, you're working, you know, I can maybe say, yeah, I'm going to loan it to you because I know that you're going to be able to pay that money back. That's what the bank does. The bank is a business. And I know that within our community, they've had bad historical experiences of redlining and doing evil things to keep us from home ownership. But I don't work with people that have that mentality. Even if you were to apply for a bank loan today with one of my lenders through Unlock Nashville, it's not a no. It's a yes or a no, but it's not a firm no. It's a not right now. And what we would do is work with you to help you get pre approved and achieve the goals that you're wanting to attain. But the bank is always just a business. So you can't be afraid to ask the business to borrow obscene amounts of money, $500,000, $350,000. If they tell you no, it's not a firm no because they don't like you. It's that you haven't proved to them that you're going to be able to pay that loan back. When I say it like
Hmm.
that, is that understandable?
Oh
So
yeah.
I just always try to play ombudsman and help my clients by putting them in the hands of a person that I think will work in terms of personality as well, right? Because when we're talking about lending and you're trying to obtain financing to make the largest purchase you'll ever make in your lifetime, unless you buy a Lamborghini or whatever, you need to like the person that you're in communication with. You need to be able to build rapport. You need to trust them, and you need to feel confident enough to be honest. Because if you are in debt and you're trying to take on more debt, they need to understand what that debt to income ratio looks like. If you're withholding information, it's never going to work. It's a no go on all sides, and everybody's going to be mad at me for wasting their time. So again, I'm the
Hmm.
open, and all I get is a pre-approval letter. There's a lot of people that think because I maybe connect buyers and sellers with lenders that I know their personal finances, and that's not the case. I just get an email from the lender that lets me know how much money the bank is willing to loan you. And some people use
Hmm.
all of it, some people don't. So it's still a conversation both ways. But that's just what I do. I go around the community. I help a lot of investors too with Nashville changing, Nashville Yards coming, and the new stadium. I take a lot of meetings every day about what the city will look like after this construction. And
Hmm.
I've been tapping into a little bit more commercial as well as helping investors kind of find dilapidated properties and make those properties new again. Instead of things don't always have to be torn down, but again, you have to sometimes source the financing to make it beautiful or keep it beautiful.
Hmm.
So that's
Got
just
you.
what I
Got you. Now,
help all.
got you. Okay. Can you hear me? Is there a little
Yep,
bit
I
of
can hear you.
technical difficulties? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure we were good. Had a little bit of technical difficulties on my side, but we're good now.
Mhm.
Question I got for you is, when did you first get interested into like the real estate game? When did that first interest peak for you?
I was applying for dental school, and what most people don't understand is that that is a year-long process. The application opens up in June, and you they normally start like taking interviews in about December, and you can know quickly if you have a spot or you could be entertained to be on the waiting list or whatever. But yeah, it takes a year to apply. So my friends that I bartended at that time and some friends that I bartended with, they knew the cycle because they would be like, your attitude changes. Like, we could tell that you're stressed. You know, you're studying, you've got to take this entrance exam, and then you still got to make sure all your paperwork is in. And there was like a service that they use to keep all the paperwork streamlined, but I'd still have to ask for letters of recommendation and all that kind of stuff and have shadow hours. There's several dentists in the community that I shadowed to see what type of specialty I would want. And at the time, I was in between orthodontia and endodontics, which are both the hardest. I mean, you got to be like upper 1% of the class, but you've got to finish your actual, you've got to graduate from dental
Hmm.
school and then you specialize. So, yeah, I was just super, super wrapped up in that. Got waitlisted at a couple schools a couple times and actually got accepted into a school. And I never ever say the school just because I didn't go because it would have been in a really rough area. My family wasn't comfortable with me leaving Nashville, which was a city that I quickly adapted to and had done great things, at TSU. They just didn't know if the outcome would be the same in this city. So I had to politely decline that invitation. And a friend of mine was like, why don't you try something different? I mean, we know that you're bright. We don't understand why, you keep getting overlooked for a seat in a dental program. He was a realtor and he actually worked for
Hmm.
Keller Williams out in Murfreesboro. And so I told him, I was like, do I have to work out of the office? Is it like an office job? I didn't understand it at that time. And he was like, no, no. And I actually think there's an office here in Green Hills. Well, after he said that, I really, really started to take it more seriously. So I went to real estate school, kind of like a New Year's resolution. I wanted to be in the January class, but there must have been 1,000 other people just like me that wanted to begin it at the beginning of the year. So that class filled up quickly. So I had to take the February class, and it's a 2 week course. Um, you take the course, you finish the coursework, then you get ready to study for the state exams, which everybody scares you, which I was already used to because I had been so terrified from the dental school entrance exam. People, oh my God, I got there and did it. They'll just freak you out. You sometimes have to experience things for yourself to know if you're really able to do something, right? So there was another girl, and by then, like, word had spread. Dennifer's gonna go to real estate school, guys. Like, let's cheer her on or whatever. I worked with a really, really good cohort at that time, and we were truly friends. We were just a bunch of college kids from all over the country that met in Nashville and wanted each other to do well. So there was another girl, and her sister sold real estate. Her sister sent me everything. She sent me everything I needed to prepare for the exam. So I took the exam, passed the exam, went, interviewed with Keller Williams. My broker immediately signed me, and that was it. After that, I took, like I said, all the contracts classes to make sure I was able to understand, the practice of real estate. And the hardest thing after that was to kind of brand myself, because everybody knew I wanted to attend dental school. So it was different to advertise that now I'm selling real estate. So it took me about a year and a half before everybody kind of
Hmm.
took me seriously with that. And I got my first deal. I got my first deal out, like, from behind the bar, just talking to a lady, and she was telling me she had a family property that she had tried to rent out, and she was just tired of chasing the tenants for rent and had some issues with codes and stuff downtown. So that was my breakout. And it just so happened to be in North Nashville, over by the Fifth Jubilee Bridge. And so I think that's how the conversation kind of started. Me being a TSU alum and knowing the
Hmm.
area really well. I think she sits in 37203, but she knew I knew the area very well. And she was like, I want you to list my house and sell it. And this is how much money I need to net. See, that's the thing about real estate people don't understand. They think it's just putting a sign in the yard. It's a lot of math. And so that's what
Hmm.
trips a lot of people out. They want to sell it because they like posting on Instagram. They think we walk around in a two-piece power suit all day. Not the case. I trip over snakes and dead varmint half the time in these flips that I walk through. There was a snake poking out of the wall just the other day when I went into the house. And
Wow.
so yeah, crazy. So I have crazy stories I could tell you. But yeah, I mean, she was like, run the comps. These are the numbers that I'm looking to get, listed at the best price you think. And I did. I did everything she asked me to do. She told me she wanted a certain amount of money that she wanted to net personally, and then a certain amount of money she wanted to give her siblings. This had been a family home. And I mean, all the people that came to the showings, they were, investors. This property needed to be rehabbed, and her renters had really done a doozy on it, which is why she was wanting to get rid of it. I mean, chasing rent and all that kind of thing. You got to have a tender heart, but you can't be scared. That's my Midwestern roots. I was at a
Hmm.
property over in East Nashville last week, and I had to have a security escort because we were doing a detainer warrant, to get people out that hadn't paid. So I'm that girl. I get it done. I'm not a practitioner, but it fell in my lap. It was a good fit. Um, yeah, and I love doing it. I love doing it. It's the same
Hmm.
feeling of helping people be their best selves and putting them in a position to be able to support their families.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So, question I had for you: what was the first moment you were like, "Okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be"?
Probably when their kids recognize me, and I don't know. I mean, I get that they're too young to understand the business part of it, but I'm like a part of the family. Like I've been around enough where, like, the dog stops barking, the kids like run up to you, recognize you. The last family that I helped on a couple deals, like the last time we were at the title company, the little girl wouldn't go into the office until I got there because she was so used to that being my role, me being there to open the door for them. And it was just cute because I knew that she didn't understand all that was going on, but she understood that I was helping with all that was going on. And then it was really, really sweet when like they moved in, got settled, she got her little swing set, and you got to see her run around in her new yard. So those kind
Okay.
of things that would make me happy. Hmm.
Nice, nice. Well, of course, with any business, there is challenges and overcoming them as well. We're going to get into that, but first, we do have one more commercial break on This Woman Works.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works with Dennifer Reliford. Now, like I mentioned before the break, there is always some challenges in whatever field you enter. What were some of the challenges, or what was the biggest challenge, I should say, in your career in real estate and trying to get into that field and trying to, I guess, become a face in that field of just your industry?
The biggest challenge, I guess, like I said earlier, just getting people to understand that I had transitioned and was entertaining a different discipline. I had been so dental school driven. I have two master's degrees, and everything from bachelor's to graduate school was cultivated to help me be the best practitioner I could be, and also the strongest applicant I could be for a dental program, and to get the letter in the mail saying that you could come, but it not be for a city that you feel comfortable living in. You got to think about it. These are 4, 5, possibly 6 year programs. If you can't plant roots and feel safe the whole time that you're studying, then it's not going to be a good fit for whatever reason. So that was definitely difficult. And then other than that, just interest rates and things like that. My family, you know, we're not compensated until the home closes. So sometimes,
Hmm.
at the beginning, my my parents might be like, "Okay, we see you working really, really hard on this, but when's the check come?" Like what? So that's definitely difficult. But now that I've been in it for 6 plus years, things move a little better, and I have more clientele and stuff like that. So I kind of know that it's where I need to be. I've done some great things around the city, and it's always great to be able to drive through the city and connect the suburbs off of deals that I've been a part of, like we talked about earlier. Lights that shine. Sometimes someone's light might be shining a little brighter than yours, and I'm not always the person that wants their name in lights. There's been a lot of commercial projects I've been a part of, and I don't really want my name put on the plaque at the door. Maybe I'll change that one day, but I don't have to be acknowledged that way. There's a different way. I was there, right? So I know what I've participated in. No one can ever take it from me. Just like with my academia, I was there. No one can ever take it from me. So the older I get, I like to be in the background for a
Hmm.
multitude of reasons. And nothing super, super challenging. And if it is, you just got to sometimes tap into your grit and get through it. I hate to see when people are not pre-approved for loans, and I know that they work really, really hard. You know, I know people that have
Hmm.
worked for major businesses. We have Oracle and some new heavy hitters coming to town, but we've had HCA and Caterpillar and some other things here at least as long as we've been here in the city, Mike, at least as long as we were, TSU kids or whatever. So I think if people have put in decades of service, then they should be able to purchase a home. Same as the vets. I guess that was one of the major challenges when I started selling in the Clarksville area. It was like a come to Jesus moment, for lack of a better term, to understand that those army men, their wealth isn't from the surface, it's more so from the buying and selling of real estate, however rapidly that they have to do it. When they're called to, be deployed and moved, and they have to sell those homes, they pull that equity out, and that's the wealth. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that was the drive of me to keep doing this, because I'm helping families build wealth. But then again, when I send someone to the lender and they want to apply for a loan, and they've been in the active service and they're denied, that hurts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they've done everything that they were supposed to do to be a good person and a stand up citizen, but yet they fell short. And you can't get mad at the bank, it's a business. We're asking for large sums of cash on credit. So if you don't
Mm-hmm.
fit the parameters, you don't fit the parameters, but that doesn't mean that we're not human, and you just don't sometimes understand why. So I guess that's the only challenge for me. Two married
Mm-hmm.
people with a small family that are doing getting up every day, doing the best they can, trying to be the best they can, and they fall short. So that's why I
Yeah,
go so. Hmm.
got you. Okay. All right. What's the biggest bit of advice that you've received over your time, real estate or podcasting or any of those arenas?
Biggest bit of advice, my broker. My broker at Keller Williams is just always telling me to. He likes me in the background because he knows that you know I like to do a lot of things. So he tells me sometimes to do things anonymously, like donations and stuff like that. And just sometimes being in the background of deals will, as a single person, will probably keep me, you know, more in the swing of things than to just be overly out there. So sometimes a little, what is it, covert is better
Mm-hmm.
than overt. Yeah. Yeah. Shout
Okay.
out to Michael Sims, Keller Williams commercial.
Okay. All right. And what is some of the biggest advice that you could give to someone that may be kind of wanting to do some of the things that you're doing, whether it's starting their own business or real estate or podcasting or anything of those natures, or all those things that you have your hands in currently?
Just make sure that whoever you're doing business with is really in it to do business. A lot of people want to be connected to skim off the top, but when your productivity falls, where are they, right? I mean, I don't think that that's good business. I think that when you sign contracts in our big adult lives, we're not, I mean, it's not the babysitters club. We're not just like having some mutual agreement, you know, verbally. Things are contractual. I have legal. I work with people that have legal. We need to know um that we're really going to be there for each other through thick and thin.
Hmm.
I don't think those vows only relate to marriage. I think when you're sharing funds and working together to divvy up funds, when the interest rates get high and you're maybe not able to produce as much as you were when they were lower, you need to know that the person you're in business with is still going to support you, or else there is no business. I don't want you to
Hmm.
just skim off the top when I'm selling all these units and have all these people. I've got this podcast now and I'm exposed even in the UK. I think I tapped into the UK like last week, and my production company was having a heart attack. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, like what? But I've got all these people in my DMs wanting to do business, and I need to know that I'm working with people that can help me get the business done, not just wait for the check to skim money off the top. And that's the only reason why they want to do business or like me. I can't do that because nobody's perfect. And like I said, we've had a crazy economy, you know. So if people don't buy, if people don't entertain the phone calls, if people don't call me, if people don't initiate the business or sign the contracts to do the business, then what are we doing? Are
Hmm.
we still best friends? Are we not? Like, what are we
Hmm.
doing? So yeah, just you gotta be tight, click tight with people.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I enjoyed this episode, getting to know your journey, getting to know what you're
Right.
currently doing, and of course, the challenges and how you kind of overcome them. But I want to allow my listeners and viewers to get to know you just a little bit more, maybe away from the
Very
business and things like
right.
that.
Yeah.
That's where the speed round comes in. I've got 10 random questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All
Not
right.
really, but I'll get ready.
What is your favorite movie all time?
Favorite Coming to America. Duh.
Got you, got you.
Coming
Who
to
would play
America.
you? Right, right. That definitely you can name all the one-liners in that movie. Just
Yeah.
yeah, it's the bar scene has got to be the funniest scene in the
The
entire
bar
movie.
scene is
One of the
great. Have
funniest
you
scenes.
seen somebody on AI did it and they changed the faces to rappers? Oh my god, it's so good. I'll have to send it to you. It is so good.
Got you. Who would play you in a biopic?
Who would play me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. That's a good question. I don't even know. I don't even know. Taraji P. Henson? I don't know. I've never even
Got
been
you.
asked that question. Yeah, let's just say her. That's crazy.
Okay. Best vacation spot.
Anything tropical. I was invited on an Alaskan cruise and politely declined. I don't want to wear Uggs when I'm on vacation. Ever. Ever. Anything tropical. With a
Okay.
layover. I
Worst.
don't like direct flights either. I'm a weirdo. I have to have a layover.
Okay. All right. Worst movie you've ever seen.
Oh, I don't remember the name of it, but I almost walked out of the theater. Worst movie I've ever seen. I mean, I don't watch them if they're. I'm not into like gory horror. I think
Mm-hmm.
I was 15 or 16 before I watched Thriller all the way through. So I went to one, and actually Taraji P Henson was in it. It was her and Idris Alba, and he basically like
Oh, I know
killed.
which movie you're talking about.
He killed his prison guard on the bus and got off, and that's how he ended up at her house. Like it was very, very gory at the beginning, and I almost left. But then
Mm-hmm.
eventually it was like a love story thing. So I sat through it. I always go on a date. I'm always on a date when Creed comes out. So sometimes I'm like not even really watching the storyline. Those movies are long too. Creed's like 3 hour movies. I don't know. I don't watch them. If they're boring, I'm out. I'm not doing it. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
All
know.
right. I'm still waiting on somebody to say Soul Train because I
Was that
did
a
not
bad
like
one
that
for
movie.
you?
That was the one with Kevin Hart where he
Yeah,
bought where he yeah, I didn't like that movie. That movie was who would you say is your celebrity lookalike?
no, I have no idea. I was
All
pretty
right.
obsessed with A. Marie in college. Because I've got Asian roots, but um,
Hmm.
I don't think we look alike per se. I don't know. You
Hmm.
guys tell me. Put it in the comments or something. I don't know.
Got you, got you. Best food spot.
I love me some sweats. I always have since I moved here for college. I love
Hmm.
Chewy's for Mexican. I've been like obsessed with Chewy's for the past 2 months. I love Radish. It's by my office. Really fresh
Hmm.
salads. I love bourbon steak. I'm from the Midwest, so I definitely eat red meat. Bourbon steak is really good. They say
Hmm.
Harper's is good. I've only been once, and I didn't, I guess, try enough stuff to be obsessed with it. Um, I don't know.
Hmm.
I go all around. I love me some Hattie B's, but I live or die for Prince's. I mean, I if Hatfield, McCoy's. If I ever had to pick a side, I'm definitely going on the Prince's side. But I take clients to Hattie B's. It's really, really cost effective, and they're always thrilled that they can get like all this chicken and a bunch of sides for like $15. So I'm always
Hmm.
on Charlotte at Hattie B's.
All right. Your biggest celebrity crush.
I can't say. You guys are gonna be mad. Kanye West, I love him.
Ah, okay. All right.
Always have, always will. Easy Mafia. And then Old
Uh,
Dirty Bastard. Everybody knows I have a crush on Old Dirty Bastard. I love the Wu Tang
oh,
Clan. Shout out to Ghostface. I got to party with them and have done a little business with them, so they know I
okay.
love it. Raekwon, how you doing?
All right. Favorite song in rotation right now.
Favorite song in rotation? What do I listen to all the time? My favorite song to chill to is Pain 1993 with Drake and Playboy Cardi. I
Mm-hmm.
think when Apple does like your yearly roundup, on Apple Music, I had listened to that
Mm-hmm.
song. I think I tried to do the math, and there's no telling how many times a day I had listened to that song. That song is chill vibes. I don't know. I normally put it on either Sirius when I'm in the car or Apple Music and let Siri kind of DJ. So
Mm-hmm.
I know what I skip over, and what I skip over isn't anything I would want to delete off the playlist. I'm just not in the mood at that time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I listen to I mean I'm still into Drake even though I know whatever's going on right now. I like the CD with him and 21 Savage. I listen to that a lot. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Who is your favorite artist? Your favorite artist got to be Kanye, right?
Yeah. I love
I
Kanye
figured
West.
so.
Yeah.
Best childhood memory.
Probably get my braces. That's what made me want to be a dentist. Yep.
Oh,
I
okay.
had dug teeth and like within 2 weeks I could
Mm-hmm.
see all of my facial features changing, which that's basically plastic surgery. People don't really consider it that. But yeah, being a young girl in junior high and already having so much of your body changing and then electively getting braces and seeing your whole facial structure change is pretty monumental. And I just liked the office. They were always chill. He, is well like respected and well regarded in the community. I think he traded his Corvette every year, which drove me insane. And so it just made me want to be a dentist. I just thought that was so cool. And then as I got
Mm-hmm.
older and kind of studied the different disciplines, like I said, when I went through the rotations, I always had orthodontia in the back of my mind for my braces. But then I met Dr. Sheets and his family. And Dr. J was so nice to me, and they could knock out a root canal in an hour. So I was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
dope. And it showed me how the body cures itself and how somebody could come in and all that pain and he just kind of, extract the pus for lack of a better term and make people instantly feel better, leave, in a better mood. You might be in a little bit of pain, but it was nothing like how you came in. That's just what I like. I like to make people feel their best selves and be their best selves. You only get one life, right?
That's right. That's right. And we only get one speed round. It's 10 questions. They're all wrapped up on this edition of This Woman Works with Dennifer Reliford. Now, I want to thank you for coming on the show. If you can, tell everyone where they can find you on social media or just any other places as well.
I want to thank you as well, Mike. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Dennifer Reliford, CEO, founder, mastermind of Unlock Nashville. Most people follow me on Instagram at Unlock Nashville. That's also the easiest way to get in contact with me if you want to sign up for free credit repair. I will extend 8 people from this podcast into my free credit repair program. If you are renting and you want out, you want to purchase something, there's tons of new construction and homes for sale in the Nashville, Davidson County area. You can also find me on Facebook, Unlock Nashville LLC. And my personal cell is 812-841-7037. Again, I'm Dennifer, and let's get it done from community to community and door to door in this great city. I would love to get you unlocked. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Of course, for those that don't know, I am the host of the show, Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton82. That's MikePatton 82. The artist formerly known as Twitter, word to Prince, one of the greatest artists of all time. Now you can find me also on Instagram and Threads at the CHA, not THE underscore general underscore MP. This Woman Works you can find on the Mike Patton Network on YouTube, and you can also find it on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this episode of This Woman Works. We're out. Peace.
Peace.